One of the things I love about Shakespeare that I think I talk about in another one of these videos is the way the personal and the political intersect, particularly in his political plays, although I think in a lot of them. The way that you see events, you both get a sense of the large picture politically and then the small picture of people's personal lives and how the two are intersecting, and you see the same event from multiple viewpoints. Particularly, I'm thinking in the Henry V and also in Henry IV parts 1 and 2, which are really a trilogy, the three plays together. You have what's happening with Prince Hal, what's happening at the court, what's happening with Falstaff and his companions in the tavern, and you see events through their eyes. You see what's happening with the rebels, with Hotspur, and you get a very rich tapestry of the time and the era and how the issues are impacting all the different people. So the intersection of the personal and the political is something I've tried to play with in my own way in Secrets of a Lady. The Peninsular War ended about 5 years before the book begins, but the events of the war really set the story in motion. Charles and Melanie met during the war. They met because of a mission Charles was sent on, a fictional mission, a mission that was driven by the war. And the fallout from the war, the fact that the Spanish king had been restored and that a number of the people who had opposed the French occupation were not happy about the restoration of the Spanish king, that's really driving the actions of a number of the characters in the book, both a couple of Spanish characters and several of the British characters, including the Foreign Secretary, Lord Castlereagh, who's a real person who doesn't actually appear in the book but is talked about and is behind some of the events in the story. And I've also tried to do the showing various levels of society and showing the story through the perspectives of characters on various levels. So the book goes to the theater, and there are a number of actor characters that you see at Drury Lane. There's the debtor's prison in the Marshalsea, where there's actually a former actor, which I think a number of people involved in the arts can understand how an actor could end up in a debtor's prison. There's a brothel, actually, in a very poor slum. There's a racing stable at Brighton. There are the very aristocratic characters, Charles and Melanie and their friends and family. And there's kind of an interesting commentator throughout is Jeremy Roth, who's a Bow Street runner, which is the equivalent of a modern-day policeman, who has a very jaundiced eye for the aristocracy and is quite wary of Charles and Melanie at the beginning of the story, and yet works with them over the course of the book, and I think his attitude changes and evolves in quite interesting ways in the course of the story.